In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a type of generative art where you make an ellipse move around the screen and use random boundaries to move it around. We're going to start out by making a variable for x that we're going to set equal to 300. And we're going to make a variable for y as well. I'm going to set that one to 300. And we're going to make two variables, one for speed x and one for speed y. It's really important that you make two speed variables, and it'll be clear to you why later on. So that's all going to happen above function draw. And now we're going to go inside of function draw and create an ellipse at our x and y variables that we just created. And I'm going to give it a size of 5, but you can make this really any size you want. You could make it much bigger than mine, much smaller. It'll just change the way that it looks. So I'm going to say x equals x plus speed x, and I'm going to do the same thing for y. Now, even though I chose 5 for my speed x and speed y, you could change them to be two different numbers. You could make them, maybe speed x is 20 and speed y is 5. You can completely change them up, and it'll make a different style of generative art on your canvas. So right now our circle is just running off of our canvas, which is not exactly what we want. So we're going to give it some random boundaries. So I'm going to say if, and then in parentheses, x is greater than, and then I'm going to put random and then a set of parentheses. And I'm going to choose a random area, basically. So a random number between 350 and 500 will be chosen every time that the computer reads this. And if x happens to be greater than that, then I want speed x to equal negative speed x. And we're going to basically do the same thing for all 4 sides of our canvas. And the reason that we do speed x equals negative speed x is because that'll basically just send it in the opposite direction. So I'm going to do the same thing for y, saying if y is greater than, and I'm actually going to move y up a little bit just because my canvas is cutting off at 350. So I'm going to move my y from 300 to 200. Go up and change that at the variable. All right, and then I'm going to say if y is greater than a random number between 250 and 350, and these are just random numbers I'm putting in as well, but you want to choose something towards the bottom of your canvas, and there we go. So now it's starting to kind of bounce around, go in a random direction. We just need to do it for the lower end of the spectrum as well. So if x is less than a random number between, let's say, 0 and 200, you could change these to be a bigger area or a smaller area. I'm going to do the exact same thing though. Speed x equals negative speed x. I'm going to do the same thing for y. And you can also display what the random number is that's getting chosen. If that's something you want to do, you could make the random and then in parentheses 0, 200. You could make that a variable and just call it like x boundary, something like that. And then you could display it to see the numbers that are popping up and how the computer is actually responding to it. But you can see now it's kind of bouncing around the canvas, making this like really cool design. And I'm going to just throw a random fill in there. I'm going to say x divided by 3, y divided by 3, 0. And that's using my x and y coordinates to make a gradient color on my circles that are being drawn on the canvas. You could totally change these numbers, change the order of them. You could make it just one color and fill up the whole canvas with one color. You could make variables for R, G, and B and have it change that way. There's a lot of ways to change this to make it look super cool. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all of our newest videos.